All right, Trails Collective World, Ian here. I am coming to you live this week, hopefully in a connection that's actually working from Whiteface. Whiteface mountain races are running this weekend, and I just arrived, unpacking the truck, starting to set up, and I am in a public room, and now that I'm talking, I'm getting a serious echo. So I apologize if my audio will be off tonight, but hopefully my mic grabs it sufficiently. So thanks for tuning in with us. For those that are catching us live in this episode, feel free to drop some questions or comments as we go into the Trails Collective's Facebook or YouTube streams, which you can find. It's also streaming to my personal Facebook page, as always, but comments and questions will go through the Trails Collective site, so check those out. This evening, or this episode, we were going to focus on bringing you some voices from Western states. One of the voices, my new friend Arlen Glick from Ohio, who finished third. His flight had a little bit of shakeup today and was rescheduled to right around the time that we were going to be broadcasting. So we are going to kick back the Western states episode until hopefully next week. And with that, we're hoping to actually make it a bit deeper and bring you a few more voices from that field. So hang tight, and we will bring you the Western States voices plus a few more next week. And let's see. Also next week, we'll hope to weave in some new events, some voices from Charlie Gattle, who just put on Manitous. He's working with Kevin Radar, and they're putting on a few other trail series. So we'll bring you some updates on that. And it's also going to be a busy week. I think next week we'll bring you some of the recap of Whiteface happening this Saturday. I may be able to get a couple voices from potentially two of the front studs, men and women from the mountain marathon running in Alaska, which I know is not in our region, but it's another one that's always been on my radar. It's just as kind of this epic bucket list event. So hopefully we can chat on that a bit. But for this week, we will dig in here in a minute. I'll bring you a few voices that ran Manitous this past weekend. And my schedule's just been too slammed the past few weeks to dig in as I would like to do on let you know on some of the other not quite as big events that are running in our region. There are a couple that have run the past couple weeks that I just haven't been able to plug, as well as some of the events that are about to sell out or cap out. Just give you the heads up there. But I will get back there once I'm through my big event push here after this weekend. But we will, I think, start with one of probably what's becoming the most premier of events in our region, and with one of the premier RDs who you will all know from media fame, Jimmy Mack.
Oh, I'm dying, dude.
And I don't know, and since you're the first one on, I'm assuming, since I'm working on a public connection here, that my face isn't frozen and my audio is working. Aaron, I see you on the back end there too. Is my audio okay? Hopefully. Well, hopefully. Jimmy, can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound awesome. I'm good.
I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
You got audio?
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Crap. Still can't hear you.
All right.
All right, Devang, thanks for letting me know. I'm good. Jimmy Mack, let's see if we can figure out your audio there.
All right, we good? You got me? No?
All right, it's muted now. Can you try unmuting it there?
All right, my first time.
Unmuted.
We're good? Got me?
Oh, you can hear Jimmy. All right, so maybe it's just me. I can't hear my audio. Let's see. Let's try ditching that.
It's going to make a tough interview.
See what happens. Jimmy, go ahead and... No. Crap, it's me. Geez.
Aaron can hear us both.
Crap.
If I go
apologize
back in,
all. I don't know why I can't hear a thing. Hang with me as I try to figure this out.
Aaron, you still got me? I'm good.
Geez, 2 weeks in a row of tech glitches while I'm on the road here. Let's see. Hello.
You good?
Jimmy, are you still talking to me?
Yeah, Ian, you good? You up in Lake Placid?
Geez, this is not 2 weeks in a row. I'm killing you guys out there. But I promise I'll be back to normal here pretty soon. Let's see. Why can't I hear a thing? Let's try to go to... still anything out there? Crap. Try it. Anything now?
You got me?
Talk to me, your lovely svelte voice, Jimmy. Just say
hello?
something.
Hello,
Anything.
hello.
I still can't hear a thing. This is frustrating.
We're
But
live.
You guys all bearing with me. Thanks for your patience in advance. I am trying. Chip Howard, the question is, do we want to hear Jimmy? Kid, I love Jimmy Mack. I do. I would love to hear his svelte voice this evening in my ears.
Where's Chip
All right.
commenting? Is that on? Is that
Talk
on
to me
YouTube?
now, Jimmy.
You got me?
I hear some svelte music.
Ooh, where's music coming from? I hear it.
You got it?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear my echo.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, now how to fix the echo? We traded one problem for another.
We're
How
good.
about that? Nothing. Oh, geez. I'm trading one problem for another problem. All right, let's try this again. All right, talk to me again.
What's up? You got me?
Oh, gosh. Sweet. Oh, sweet Jesus. All right.
Pray. I'm gonna pray.
Aaron, I should just have you hop on and run the show.
I'm just gonna act a fool because that's kind of what I do. I'm good at that.
All right, you still getting an echo though, I imagine, eh?
No, you're good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you sound awesome now. You can hear me. We're good.
I
Look
can.
at that. You did
got
it.
through it.
What'd you do?
Thanks
Just
for
kick
this,
me. Yeah.
I was starting to get a little steamy in here. I thought it was Jimmy Mack more than the stress of figuring out the technical difficulties, but somehow we've arrived there. So where I was going about 5 minutes ago before the technical delays were to bring you all some info on what's shaping up to be one of the most premier events in our region, if not the nation. Jimmy, why don't you cue us in on the upcoming 7-Eleven Slurpee Run?
Oh man, this is I love that you said this is the pre. So here's the thing. The first thing about it, it's not a race. Anybody who shows up to race this, I will never let them hear the end of it. And I heard it on good authority that Cole Crosby's coming up to try to set a new course record. And I was like, Cole, I'm gonna actually call the police in Hartford to hold him up to slow him down. So it's I don't know. Years ago when I was living in California, I lived within there was 3 7-Elevens within 2 miles of each other. And I was like, Alan, free Slurpee day. I'm going to do a run between them all. It was probably 2013 or 14. And then I remember thinking oh, that would be cool to string together like a 50K or something like that. I wonder if I could do that. And then lo and behold, I moved back to the East Coast in 16, sat on hold for a couple of years. And then in 2019, 3 of us did it. Lee Stewart Evans, the British guy, and the teenage wonderkin, Tobias Teo. And it was hot garbage. It was basically, we were running behind a garbage truck in East Hartford for an hour. And it was the humidity, the heat, and then the garbage. I was literally gagging the whole time. And so the term hot garbage, that became my road running name. We coined, Tobias became Stranger Things. And it was awesome. It was one of the funnest times I've ever had running. And I was like, I want to do this every year. So of course, 20 was the pandemic. And then last year we chartered a bus and brought, I think we had 29 people go out with us. And I think we had 22 finishers, and it's self-reported. So you put your own time in, your time on Ultrasignup there. And I think we had 15 people self-report, and it was a blast. We laughed our asses off the entire time. And, eating Slurpees and, those single serve pickles and sticking our head in the ice cream cases and all that. And, all while a global pandemic was, we were in the midst of, and it's just one of the stupidest fun events you could possibly do. And, basically park your car at the finish. We hop in the charter bus and take a 40-minute ride out to the town of Vernon in north central Connecticut. And then we run back to Meriden, and it's 30 about almost 38 miles. And it's stupid fun. It's just dumb. It's everything I love about ultra running. It's absurd. It's unsanctioned. It's unregulated. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's amazing. It's awesome.
So how many 7-Eleven? And let me hang on. Let's try this. Aaron, I'm going to bring you in for a second because I want to make sure that 7-Eleven and the appreciation of 7-Eleven is a universal international commodity. Are you familiar with 7-Elevens, and have you ever been to one?
Yeah, it's like a corner shop. Like, yeah.
Kind of. And then how about a Slurpee? Have you ever had a Slurpee?
Yeah, we have Slurpees.
It's got, but not necessarily a 7-Eleven Slurpee.
No, we don't have Slurpees.
I'm sure they have their proprietary chemicals that go into making a Slurpee. I'm not really sure what's in there, and then how about the good old convenience store hot dogs? I can't remember, if they're universal.
I don't think they're in Ireland. No.
I mean, and they've just been going around the little roly warmy thing for about 12 hours before you eat it. I mean, is that universal?
Yeah, maybe in a cinema or something you might get that.
They sell things just like Greg's sausage rolls. I have been over your guys' side of the pond, whatever. So you can get, things like Greg's the sausage rolls, whatever, that are, I guess they're called Big Bites or whatever. A breakfast sausage type thingy that's been sitting on a hot roller for 16 hours, maybe. What I
didn't see though, in both the UK and in Scotland, in my short time there, was I was very surprised that kind of once you get out of a metro area, there's not really anything other than like old houses and like farm fields and things. And so what I was
kind of like Connecticut.
There wasn't a crappy convenience store like on literally every mile in the country. And so
you got to go to a gas station to get like a 7-Eleven type experience in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. Everywhere is farm fields. Yeah, that's
all right. So how many 7-Elevens did you hit there, Jimmy, on the course? Or
we hit 7. We hit
7
7-Elevens from Vernon, Manchester, East Hartford, West Hartford, Newington, New Britain, Meriden. Did I add one? Maybe I think I might have added one. Maybe
it's okay if you did.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Whatever. Hey, you know what? We might. Maybe we'll make it a 40 miler. Who knows?
And did you feel that the aid station experience at each one was consistent? Did the hot dog in one taste like the hot dog in another?
No. So here's the thing: since they're franchised, a few of them weren't participating. So we actually had to pay at like 2 of them. We had to pay for our Slurpees, which is so I told people I have mandatory gear, a kit list. Mandatory kit list is bring your phone and your debit card and your car key. That's a mandatory kit list. You don't need trekking poles. You can bring trekking poles. You can bring an emergency blanket. I imagine it's going to be 85 degrees with 80% humidity. And it's going to be hot garbage. I can promise it's going to be hot garbage.
And how many is there mandatory consumption requirements at each 7-Eleven? Can people choose to participate, or do you have to have a Slurpee and something else that's really crappy?
You don't have to, but then again, you will be mercilessly made fun of if
ridiculed.
You don't. Yeah, you will be ridiculed harshly. Yeah.
All right. And so if people want to find out more information or sign themselves up for such a thing, where should they go?
Ultrasignup. It's listed on Ultrasignup. It's just you type in the 7-Eleven free Slurpee day Ultra 60K. 60K makes it sound better than 37.5 miles or whatever. Yeah. So yeah,
that sounds very Euro.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and you could do a Euro version. Anyone listening on the Across the Pond, go link up some Tesco's or some Sainsbury's or Poundland.
That sounds very refined. All right. That all sounds good. And then, Jimmy, any other events besides the 7-Eleven? Because you've got several with the entity you're working for and putting on that you want to plug.
I got a race this Saturday. Still got 10 spots open. The 6-hour Ansonia 6-hour at the Ansonia Nature Center. You could do day of registration. It's still open on Ultrasignup, but you could even do a day of if you want to show up with cash check or Venmo. That's totally cool. That's Ansonia 6-hour. Google that Ansonia 6-hour trail run on Ultrasignup. That's a fun one. Super runnable. It's going to be hot garbage. It's going to be hot and wet. So, but come on out and eat some watermelon and party in the USA with us. And then September 18th is the Blue to Blue Challenge, which I think is a gift and a curse being put on your list of hardest Northeast ultras, because I think people saw that on there, that it's like fourth toughest ultra, and people are like, hell no. So I sell that as, I said, come DNF your first 50K is how I sell it.
Well, you're getting a reverse effect. That wasn't my intent in having you.
No, it's totally cool, because people are like, yo, I heard that's gnarly. I'm like, oh, you have no idea, dude. But I always try to tell people, there's a couple miles of road. There's also several miles of jagged rocks that want to bite your ankles. And then I'm working on a few other things for October and November that I have not quite announced yet, that I'm still pending permits and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. But you can hit me up on liveloudrunning.com, see what we got going on, and all the Instagrams and Facebooks and all that, or text me. Get my number somehow and just shoot me a text. That would be awesome.
Usually, I think if you stop in any 7-Eleven in Connecticut, if you look on the bathroom stall wall, you'll probably find it there. Yeah. He goes under several names, but the number is usually the same. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well, Jimmy,
awesome.
Thank you for joining us.
Ian, thank you. You are the man. You do so much for Northeast running and trail running. You're the best, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't plug it, but Cultra. Anything you want to plug Cultra while you're here? Anything you got coming up or looking forward to?
Culture, we got an episode, I think, dropping tomorrow morning. We recorded Tuesday night. We just, as we call it, jackass episode, no guests. We just, recapped, again, Manitous and Western States, and talked about our friends who were at both of those races. And what else did we talk about? Yeah, we just had fun. Me, Art, and Fred. Becky couldn't make it. And listen to Cultra. Drop a couple dollars in the Patreon in Art's pocket for Patreon. And we love you all who listen. And I love you all who don't listen.
Right on. All right, dude. I will check you later.
You roll, dude. Thank you so much.
All right, see you, dude.
See ya.
All right. And bringing into the stream, in addition to Aaron, we got Steven and Kehr as well. Good to see both of you, in addition to Aaron. And I was texting a little bit with Charlie, trying to get just to see how it went down. And there's always some fires that go on the back end that you hope most people don't see. And it sounds like there were a couple with Manitous, but hopefully that you guys weren't necessarily aware of. And it sounds like you had, well, Aaron, I haven't talked to you, but hopefully Steven and Kehr, you had good days. But Kehr, was this your fourth or fifth Manitous?
Yeah.
Fifth Manitous.
I think I spent all.
I can't hear you guys.
You can't hear me?
We'll wait.
Ian, can you hear me?
I can hear.
I can hear you.
Fine. Go ahead, Kehr. You did.
Yeah, I think I spent most of the 54 miles trying to remember if it was 4 or 5. So I'm trying to think, okay, going back through every race. But yeah, so 5.
It's helpful when you get in those long grinds of races where your mind just drifts these seemingly innocuous topics that you can just get really, you make no ground on. You just kind of turn them over in your head and you're like, I don't know.
Yes, they're on repeat. It's on repeat.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And so how many, have there been like 7 Manitous? So you've hit most of them, or have you done like all of them?
I think this was the 9th year. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple people out there who have done all of them.
Yep.
I'm back.
And so
Let me get these headphones in because I can't hear anybody.
it's kind of a nice little tone there. In much probably cleaner than me trying to figure out how to get the context of the episode here is trying to figure out audio issues. Aaron and Kehr, I appreciate your expertise in dialing right into audio. Steve, I don't know whether you can hear us. I couldn't hear you there. So I'm not, you can continue to figure, but can you hear us? Thumbs up if you can hear us. All right. Well, you look really excited, though. I like your all excitement, and I know that your heart is palpitating right now as you're trying to figure this out. So we'll, it'll be an even more eye opener once you hear things like I did, where it sounds like the sweet little baby 3-pound baby Jesus when he. All right. So, Kehr, since you've run now 4 or 5, I don't know either, Steven. You keep toying with it until you can hear something. Kehr, you've run 4 or 5 now. Lay us, for those that aren't yet familiar with Manitous, I don't know, give us kind of the overview of the 40K view of Manitous, what it's all about.
It is all about roots and rocks. A lot of roots and rocks. There's a few runnable sections and some really nice climbs. But
And
yeah,
so for the rocks that are there, I mean, it's a little bit different than like the rocks in Rocksylvania or wherever. Some of them tend to be like kind of really big boulders and some scrambles and kind of escarpment rocks, as opposed to just constantly kicking your toe kind of rocks.
yeah, there's a good mixture of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kicked my toe quite a few times.
Fair. As I was saying that, I was like, well, I think
especially on those last 3 miles down where you think, oh, this is going to be a cinch, 3 miles and you're done and downhill, but it's kind of relentless.
Yeah.
But it's always fun.
Yeah. Pretty technical and also quite a bit of climbing. How much gain over the 54 miles?
They say about 15,000.
Yep.
Close to 15.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like that, especially when you're climbing that you're through the Devil's Path and you get to that last climb after you've crossed the river. And oh God, that thing just seemed like it went on forever when I was in the pain cave.
Yeah. Strangely, last year I had forgotten about it from the previous time. So last year it was kind of a surprise to me. And then this year it was endless. So.
And you've been around a bit. Well, actually, let's get into that for a bit. And so with that kind of setting the stage, Aaron, this was your first Manitous, correct?
Yeah. First Manitous, first Ultra, not counting Breakneck on the East Coast.
Yep. And what cued you to Manitous? Why'd you pick that one out?
Stats-wise, distance and ascent and technicality, it sort of suited this type of thing that I like to do. I sort of came from a background of fell running rounds and things in the UK and Ireland, and they're all sort of 50 to 70 miles with sort of in around 15k of vert. So,
and how do you compare? Into what do you think in terms of? Did it feel kind of similar in technicality? I mean, I guess the footing is sometimes different, but I don't have enough experience. I went on a couple fell runs, but they were more like kind of hummocky, some rocks in there, but it wasn't necessarily the same. But you having the experience that you have, how do you kind of compare the two?
Yeah, it's much less forgiving. The trails and the Devil's Pass and things. If you do have a fall there, it's probably gonna hurt. Whenever you're fell running, there's a good chance you're gonna miss a rock. Because just it's wide open. We don't have the trees and vegetation in our mountains, so it's definitely. It's okay. You can fall, roll, and keep going. I don't think I could say that about some of the descents in the Devil's Path.
And then, Steve, can you hear us? You got audio?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me? Or can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. And
good.
So
awesome.
On that topic of if you do take a fall, you're going to hurt yourself, knowing that not only have you set a FKT now over that terrain, but went back at it in the context of the race, similar to escarpment and some of the others. My experience out there, at least in escarpment, which is just shorter and you're going in at least a much faster clip, that to really race and charge hard out there, that you really have to put yourself out there in some pretty unsafe situations, I guess, or contexts or whatever. And so for you, charging 4 times and getting under, I imagine you just kind of accept that as part of the equation there.
Honestly, I mean, yes, but I don't really think I think about it as much as maybe people think I do, because it's just part of the norm now. And I haven't taken a really bad fall going downhill, so I guess that's part of it. And hopefully don't do that, but if that happens, then maybe I'll have some sort of governor in my brain. But for now, I'm just kind of just ripping it and feels great, and hopefully continue to keep doing that. So
yeah. That's good. Nice, youthful. I don't really want to say ignorant. That's not really right, but I feel like
it's calculated. It's not like reckless, It's over many years I've practiced, moving up to this speed. So I wouldn't say I went from 0 to 60, even though some people may, hikers or whatnot may think I'm being this absolutely insane runner who's just trying to kill himself. But that's really not true at all. Just like climbers calculate risk, we calculate risk as well with our technical trail running, right? So
I think with age though comes the aches and pains, more aches and pains of especially going downhill.
Yeah, I believe that.
And especially the days after. I don't know about you, Kehr. I mean, you keep hammering away too, but oh man, like the recovery time from some of those efforts and just getting out of bed at the morning where like everything hurts. It's a very real equation.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's go, Kehr. Let's go with you. You were top woman of the day, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Somehow, but that's really, we need more women in the field.
You do need more women in the field, for
It
sure.
was pretty slow this year.
Yeah, and this was, I mean, you were, I don't remember, you were like an hour or so off of your best time out there?
Yeah. But strangely, I felt really great. Like
It was hot.
I felt really strong on all the climbs. I felt like I was just motoring along, and somehow I was like an hour, slower.
It's amazing that when you just back off a little bit, how much
better how good it feels.
Yeah. I think that I've only run it twice in the first year. Went out what I thought was comfortable with Ben and some guy from California, and I thought it was really comfortable until the wheels fell off, and then suddenly it wasn't comfortable at all, and actually it felt really, really awful, and it was a long walk home. And then the second time, which was like 2 years ago, I went out much more conservatively, started in the slower wave just so I didn't get wrapped up in anything, and I was actually really enjoying the day after I cleared the Devil's Path. So just that scaling back just a little bit, particularly out there, just makes such a difference, especially for us old people.
Yep.
And then, Aaron, for you, you were in the first wave?
No, I started in wave 3.
Cool. And did you kind of working up through the day? What do you think about the staggered format and catching people or being caught?
Yeah, I mean, I had no real preference of where I started. I didn't even know about wave starts or anything until, close to the race. But I just go out and run it as hard and as fast as I can run it. And it didn't really matter what wave I started in. I started in 3, but I ran with one guy along the road, and then the rest of the wave was behind me. And I was just sort of passing people through to that before sort of Plate Cove, and then stopped seeing people for the rest of the day. I could hear someone coming into an aid station or leaving an aid station, and that was about it. I didn't really see anybody.
I guess that's part of it. I guess you could fall into pods out there, but that's part of it as well, where per permitting, he's got to keep it fairly small, right? What's the cap? It's like 120
150,
or something?
I think.
150.
Yeah.
And so in the waves, it gets pretty spread out, which they need to do. But you can have a good amount of alone time out there, which can be kind of cool over some pretty technical stretches with some beautiful views, and kind of stop to take that in. And I don't know about you, Aaron, if you experience, once you do catch up with people out there, or they catch up with you, if maybe they seem to come on really hot or hard, and then once they kind of get with you and they're on your shoulder and you start talking to them, they're like, wow, he's got a really hot accent, and I think I'm actually just going to hang here for the rest of the race.
Well, I don't know if they thought that. I certainly didn't say it, but the guy is Jason, is it Friedman? I can't remember his surname.
Yeah.
He's the only person that passed me all day, and it was on the climb after Pillenville. And he couldn't make out my accent. He had just passed me when we were kind of still talking, and he just sort of said, "Oh, screw this," and he fell back, and we basically did that section together, talking about Guinness and things that we do, So he's a Guinness connoisseur, so we got on well.
That's good. Of all the people you could have run into out there, that New Jersey Jay Freeman brings quite a bit of experiences to really dig into.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a good chat. Yeah.
Cool. And then Steven, how about for you in terms of how the race shook out? This was your first go at Manitou, correct?
Correct. So I guess I just had expectations that the course record was very feasible for me, and I had my fingers crossed. I was going for the course record. I just knew it was possible. I knew my training was going well. I knew I had.
Put that out there.
Oh, sorry. 10:47 by Andy Vermilya, and I think Ben Nephew is minutes behind, and same thing with Jan Welford as well. So yeah, I kind of made a little split sheet I laminated it with some tape with all the splits, not all of them, but the main ones like Dutcher's Notch, Escarpment, Palinville, Black Clove, Mink Hollow, and then Silver Hollow. So I had numbers to hit all day, and I was actually way ahead of pace at Dutcher's Notch, which kind of worried me because it felt really good. But as you said, like, or this race, as you guys know, you need to go out really conservative in order to feel good in those later miles. So I basically clicked along on pace, ahead of pace, on pace, and fell behind at the last 2 aid stations by about 6 minutes and then 10 minutes. And I knew just it wasn't going to happen. And I was okay with that because I was running strong for the weather. And I know everyone knows that that day was absolutely horrible for heat, humidity, stickiness, like no clouds in the sky. And my climbing was suffering. I felt good still, I would say. But yeah, in previous years, 2018, 2014, the weather was like in the 60s. And I think everyone can run 1 to 3 hours faster on that course with running weather. So,
yeah,
but yeah.
And I mean, this time of year, I mean, I guess you got to expect that to a certain extent. I think.
Yeah, the weekend before was very nice, though. I don't know if you guys knew that about in the Catskills. It was like in the 60s with wind on the high peaks, and I was like, of course, this is the week before the race. But
Kehr, I guess with you having run so many times, you've seen different conditions. I mean, do you think that for you could have just been the difference in time there?
Well, I was excited to see views this year.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes it's just stocked in, right?
It's like, yeah, so foggy usually. I think my difference was actually I was looking through my splits from years past and comparing them, and my biggest the biggest splits where I slowed down were the downhills. So I'm really just it's actually more for me. It's the runnable sections, but I really like the hot and the heat and humidity. So.
And some of those stretches get kind of long, especially on a hot day. I know the first year that I ran it, whatever the stretch was after you clear I think mile 25, where you get the 10-mile stretch or whatever that is, starting with a pretty long climb, and then through some of the muck, especially on a muddy or wet year. I think I ran out of water pretty quickly and just felt awful. And I just remember in every creek I stopped at, I think I was just in a daze and kind of put my head in the water. And I think I was just drinking from the creeks there or whatever. Do you guys kind of, I mean, Steven and Kehr, you've both seen it. Aaron, in terms of prepping all of your nutrition and hydration pretty good? Because some of those stretches get pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, I'd recce most of the course. I just hadn't seen anything past Mink Hollow. And there's not actually that much water. So I sort of just rationed it based on where I knew the aid stations would be, which was better than I was able to get on training runs. Because I was maybe going out and doing 4 or 5 hours, and I just had 3 12-ounce bottles with me on a training run, whereas I can consume more than that during the race. So fueling was better during the race, but maybe at one point I took a bit too much and had a bit of an off hour, I would say, around the 20-mile mark. But that section you were talking about, it was muddy still. After that climb, that was particularly not a nice section to run. I couldn't really get a flow along there.
Catterskill? Yeah, horrible.
And for you, just cooking, Steve, and maybe Kehr too, because you're often running for the win there. Are you guys just kind of throwing? I don't know. I feel like in the beginning, there's still that part of my head that's kind of dancing around, not going like right through it or whatever. But I imagine for you both charging, you're just like, here comes the muddy stretch, and you're just making a straight line and not stopping for the mud.
Yeah, just going for it. Didn't lose a shoe, which is the best part about that. And I mean, I've danced over those routes many a time, so definitely no stranger to it. So,
and especially when that gets humid in there. Speaking of, you just mentioned shoe. I think if I just heard that there, where especially when it gets on a humid day out there, you get that really technical terrain. You get some steep drops and rocks. What y'all have on your feet? Steve, I saw you had the VJ Ultras on.
Ultra 2, they came out with this second model, which is much better than the first because the first didn't have a rock plate and the rubber on the bottom was like falling apart very soon into miles with that first shoe. But I would say that shoe is amazing for that course.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Aaron, Kehr, what'd you have on those dogs?
I had Sportivas Helios.
Which rubber also pretty good, so fairly sticky in there.
Yeah, if they weren't, well worn.
Yeah. And Aaron, your tool of choice?
La Sportiva Mutant. My sort of
Considered
go-to
it
for something mountainous, 100K, that type of thing. Rock solid, comfortable all day. Tightened it up, didn't go near it.
Nice. So how about some takeaways on the event? If you're going to plug it, try to get other people to run it, or just anything that would be fun to talk about on Manitous. Let's start with you, Steven.
Well, if you're looking for a course on the Northeast that's going to break you or potentially make you DNF, this is definitely it. So, and if you want technical, I mean, if you want something that's going to be top tier, like world-class northeast effort, this is it, you have to be very fit. You have to be mentally tough. You need a lot of vert on your legs, ascent and descent. And yeah, you need to know how to eat calories, whether that's drinking them like Ben Nephew all day or putting PB&Js in your mouth with whatever other nutrition you enjoy. So yeah, I can't believe Ben used Coke all day. It's crazy.
What he does. 2 bottles on the hip and some of the
it is what he does.
or whatever he's got. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kehr, how about for you? And particularly to your earlier point, how do we get more women in that field?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't scare them off. It's a really, I mean, it's it's a beautiful course. It's really challenging, and I think that should be attractive to more people. The aid stations, I have to just plug the aid stations because the aid station volunteers are amazing in this race. But yeah, it would be great to see more women out there.
And particularly to the point of the aid station volunteers, whether it be, I think all 3, I don't remember as much on Cat's Tail, but with Manitous and Escarpment, kind of the other ones there to the volunteers, it's not the easiest area to always supply. So, I mean, they need hands. You got to hump up quite a bit, and it's quite a commitment. So kudos to them. And for anybody, looking to pitch in, that would be a solid Northeast race to support. And then Aaron, how about for you? What was it one you'll go back to, being your first time through?
Yeah, I think it's the type of race that, it's not too long. You could jump into it every year as part of as kind of a B race or something like that. It's a great course. The aid station things were amazing. And as you say, these guys have hiked buckets of ice and things up to the middle of the mountains for us, which is amazing. So they really made it a good day as well. Yeah, it's a top event, but it's low key, and it has that kind of community feel that we all kind of talk about liking with trail running. Manitous has that.
Cool. And then how about what you guys got coming up, Aaron? What else you got on deck?
I haven't booked a goal race for the rest of the year, but I am down for Escarpment at the end of July.
Nice.
And then I'm off to Chamonix for UTMB, but I'm not racing this year.
Crewing or just spectating?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Just go there and it'll be the first time out of maybe 6 trips that I haven't been running, so it'll be nice just to be there and actually be able to go out and run on the trails and out and about in the course maybe.
Seems there's so many people out there. It seems like you'd probably be pretty invaluable to some people out there with your level of experience out there to plug in. I imagine this late in the game that most people have crews, but man, there's got to be quite the need for your your headset.
Yeah. A few people have said a few things, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Kehr, what you got on deck?
Nothing. I've been
Good,
very,
which is nice too.
very
That is nice.
indecisive this year. Just trying to figure out what I feel like doing. I really want to get back up to the White Mountains. I haven't been up there in a couple of years, so I think I've got some adventures planned up there. And Virgil Crest is calling my name, I think. So we'll see. I don't know.
It's nice to be in that spot too. And get back up to New Hampshire, just do stuff on your own or an event?
Stuff on my own. Although Kilkenny Ridge looks interesting too.
You haven't done that yet?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear. I mean, I'm sure there are people that have done both. I don't remember if I did that in some of my stat work, but for those that have run both Kilkenny and Manitous, both two of the toughest. I think if I remember, I had to put Manitous 1 and Kilkenny 2nd. Both pretty rugged. I think if I remember right, Manitous more views, Kilkenny a little bit more tucked into the woods, but both just pretty burly. Well, it'll be cool to see what you think or how it goes if you do it. Steven, what you got on deck?
I have escarpment at the end of the month, and I actually signed up for Kismet Cliff, which is a New Hampshire race, 25K. So I heard really good things about it from my buddy Ian Schultes last year and Josh Reed. So just my kind of style of running steep ascent, ridgeline descent, and really love that distance. Probably going to stick more to that for the rest of the season, just because ultra just is a lot. It's a lot to train for, and it's just takes a lot of energy out of you, and recovering is a bit of a process. So
and that one is for sure on my bucket list as well. I was supposed to be in the mix last year, but then I decided to start coaching, and we had a race, but that's still on my bucket list. It looks like just a beautiful event, and it would be good to get up to do one of 603 and Tom Hooper's races.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. Right on. Well, great job to all of you. Thanks for your patience to work out some of the tech issues. It's always
sorry to interrupt. There's a question from Michelle about the turnaround. So I just want to answer her that it's no problem. You actually get to see, the escarpment on Manitou, so you know what you're in for escarpment. And
for both of you, you've seen that, and Michelle, quite a bit of experience out there as well. Well, am I remembering, Michelle, you've got the Devil's Path FKT? Am I remembering that? I think so.
I think she does.
Yeah.
For sure.
And is tough, so no doubt would hammer it. And coached by Dick Vincent, if I remember right as well. So all kinds of inroads and connections here. But cool. Thanks for catching that, Kehr. Right on. Cool. Well, thanks all for taking a bit of time. And thanks for bearing with me. I'm still a little brain fried from a couple months here, and with Whiteface on deck. After I get off the episode, I'll bring Cole here a second, but then I'll go back to laying some stuff out for Saturday. So I will talk to you all soon. Thanks again for your time, and nice work again this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, have
Thanks.
a good weekend.
All right, see ya.
Ciao.
There's my sweet face, Cole. Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
So I don't think that I was, not that I am catching what everybody's doing out there, but I don't think I knew you were in the Gunstock lineup, let alone we're about to hammer Gunstock. So is this one that you've been thinking about for a while, or for viewers not familiar with Gunstock, set the stage for what Gunstock's all about?
Yeah. It was maybe like a couple weeks after Cocodona that I kind of decided that I was going to go for something like this. Just wanted to see how my recovery was going and test myself. And it was overall a pretty cool event, like very Virgil Crest-esque. A lot of kind of similarities in terms of elements of the course and also kind of the staging and stuff. It's up in the Lakes region in New Hampshire, so by Lake Winnipesaukee, and it's hosted at the Gunstock Ski Resort, which is a very small little resort. Again, somewhat similar to Greek Peak, but doesn't have like a huge lodge like what Greek Peak has. And so they had like a 2-day event. They had like a Anacross, I think is what it was called. They had like a mountain summit race. kids race on Saturday, and then Sunday was the Nordic ski loop, and then they had 80K, 50K, 30K, 10K, and I think that was it. So everyone was all on the same course there. So I did the Sunday edition, drove up kind of early on Saturday, and just hung out with my Foster's beer, Australian beer, and some pizza, and just you know, they allowed us to kind of sleep in the parking lot, so I car camped, which was a lot of fun. And like what everyone's been saying, this last week was just really freaking hot and really, really humid. And so, yeah, that kind of, you know, was a really good challenge, especially, you know, as you know, Ian, with me running kind of trails, I've normally wilted like a dead flower. So for me to really not be affected by the conditions was a big confidence booster for me. So.
And I sometimes when a flower wilts in the heat, it still kind of looks green. In my experience, you take on a much whiter, kind of a paler wilt. But yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so with Pineland or Gunstock, was this formerly Pineland Farms? Do you remember?
Yeah, you're right. It was. And they just moved it to that location. So
across the border. And they used to have like 1,300 people, or like I remember, I think Pineland Farms was one of the biggest in our region in terms of overall numbers. Was this one, has it grown equally, or is it still a pretty big event?
I felt like there was a lot more people on Saturday because it was hard to find a parking spot. I don't think it was 1,300 people. It was they probably had maybe let's say half that at least.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more. I mean, but it was way more heavy on Saturday, and then Sunday, you know, there was people, but it was maybe like half as packed as it was the day before.
Okay. And how about course for it? Were you doing loops, or I mean, I've been with Virgil. You already mentioned it's got.
So it's it's like 10K loops. It goes through like a Nordic section. There's the climbs are pretty steep. They're like short and steep, but the footing is pretty, you know, pretty runnable, honestly. Like there were some rocks. The most technical part was actually a wood chip section, going downhill, and the wood chips were all like mangled and like all jacked up and stuff. So you would think you could go fast, but if you stepped in too much of a recess, like you could easily twist an ankle. So, you know, you had to be careful, but it's a fast course. It reminds me, you know, like I kind of ran it the way I would run like a slightly more technical Tussey Mountain back, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And then how much gain per loop, or what was your total for the 80K?
I think it was maybe like mid 5,000s, like close to 6,000 feet of overall gain. Nice. I don't know what that is, a loop, like 600 feet a loop or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, but that's nice. So it's definitely there. It mixes it up, but it's not just crushing you in terms of gain. And so your win time was sevens? What?
Yeah, I did 7:04. So I positive split pretty heavily. Like I ran when it was cooler, right? So I went out my normal kind of pace, and I really didn't look at my watch a whole lot. I kind of just honestly ran by effort, because this was just really a test to see, you know, what I could do on the day, and not really caring about time so much. So I went through the first 25 miles in like just over 3 hours, like 3:02, I think was around the time. And I'm like, all right, I'm moving good. And after that point, by like the 50K mark or so, it was already like in the mid 80s. It was disgusting. And I was on that teetering point of overheating a little bit. And so, of course, I have my Harry Potter towel. So I whipped that out. It's a ice towel, cooling towel, and just every aid station, just stop for a couple minutes, just poured cold water on myself. And that worked out great. So I never, I was able to run a decent effort without redlining. I had to slow down a lot. So, I mean, my second half was like a 4-hour time. But that was the kind of effort that you had to give out there. Honestly, it's similar to like Western States. If you shoot your shot too early, like you're screwed, you know? So same kind of thing.
But you were flying. I mean, yeah, maybe there's a big drop off between 3 hours and 4 hours. But I mean, that's a fast day. I mean, it's not like it's a flat course with, all pavement or whatever. I mean, 7:04 is a flying 80K time.
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, whatever I'm doing is things are panning out really well. I mean, I felt really strong the whole time. Obviously the conditions sucked. Like it challenges you mentally, but I mean, it didn't really faze me. I mean, yeah, as long as I was pouring water on myself, I was doing fine.
That's great. And it must have got at least somewhat of a mental monkey off your back, knowing that that's been a tough thing for you in the past. That yes, it was still hot, but you kind of worked through it and you did all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think learning from running an experience like Cocodona, I feel like it's like if I'm running a 50-mile race, like it just does not compare, right? So that helps me, I think, from a mental standpoint, knowing like, if you're, I'm out there for almost 4 days running in the desert of Arizona versus running 7 hours around a ski hill in New Hampshire. I mean, so I use that as a little feather in my cap, I think. And yeah,
that's huge. I mean, it's got to reset your bar, your central governor there in terms of both distance and heat, and to see how long that lasts, whether your bar is just reset now or whether that's kind of a temporary mark or whatever. But I don't know. It would seem like clearly it made a difference.
Yeah, I think it's taking me all this time to kind of come into my own, and I think I've started the pieces are falling into place. So, yeah, I'm excited for my next future challenges, or the next things that I go about. But yeah, all in all, like it was a great event. They have great food, great beer tent stuff, and I mean, it was well done. It was just fun. So
that's great. Awesome. And then what do you got coming up? What's your season still?
I'm doing that 7-Eleven Slurpee Run in Connecticut.
Nice.
I've been telling J-Mac, I don't know if I should bring carbon shoes or not. So I'm doing that with the crew, and then it's really just going to be training to build up a lot of strength for the snowshoe championship. So that's end of August, going out to Argentina. So we're working on the logistics for that trip right now. And I'm just, the race is like at 9,000 feet. So I'm just going to try and get as mountain fit as I can. Like this last week I was up in New Hampshire, so I was doing some White Mountain kind of stuff a little bit. And, hopefully I can put a good showing in the world stage out there in Argentina. So it's kind of my schedule for right now.
So to Aaron's question here, did you have any injuries to rehab after Cocodona? And that segue into, I mean, that's a big change. I mean, going from like Cocodona to focusing on the World Snowshoe Championships in 1 year, months later. I mean, yeah, can you talk about how your body handled post-Cocodona? I mean, clearly the long term would be that, yeah, I mean, your fitness and mental fitness is pretty solid at the moment, but that's quite the turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've stolen a little bit of the Michael Wardian kind of card. I mean, I think especially in the last 3 years.
You mean running out there with like 3 pelvic hip or
no, not that side of it.
One in your femur and one in your foot. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, not that side of it. More, but I've been able to just recover way faster than I ever have. I mean, honestly, I could have been able to just run a normal 7-minute mile like a week after Cocodona if I wanted to. To answer Aaron's question, my feet were just totally destroyed. Like they were one whole blister. So it took me a while to get my feet back in shape. But in terms of overall fitness, I just rode the fitness that I had from Cocodona into this race. I only had like 2 weeks of actual like 70-mile a week training. But I see myself as being this kind of runner of extremes to an extent. I think I can juggle both the hot and cold pretty well. There's mental similarities between both of those extremes, and I think that's my true calling as an athlete. So am I going to run in the jungles? I don't know. I honestly, doing that race, the conditions were not really appealing to me, but definitely I like the extremes, and having a hot tub at our house, I'll plug it all day long because be able to go in for 15 minutes like every other day, like that speeds up my recovery process big time. So I think that's been a little a little secret, you know, kind of training element that I've used. It's worked out great. So, yeah.
Right on. And your feet, and not just your feet, but your lips, right? I mean, your lips look like
yeah,
they've
I know.
recovered.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Good.
they were really bad. I mean, you know, again, the whole 200-mile distance is crazy, as we know, and what your body goes through, I have no idea. But like you don't feel like you feel like you're like a shell of yourself for like 2 weeks usually, be more. But I approach it as, you know, the whole month you need to take time to just kind of like, if you feel like you want to run, you can a little bit, but you're not really training. You're just kind of like going outside.
Mhm.
You know, there's things that we don't know scientifically that we're putting our bodies through. So, you know, I just want to kind of take a nice refresh. And again, I recovered really fast from it. I don't know exactly why, but, you know, I was just doing the important things to take care of yourself, drink plenty of water, sleep, that kind of stuff. And, you know, here I am crushing this Gunstock race and hopefully some other adventures. So.
What was your volume going into Cocodona, and how's it going to move into shorter focus?
I mean, I didn't really do anything crazy. I had like 2 weeks. Again, I'm a semi low mileage kind of athlete. I mean,
Define semi low mileage.
Like my peaks were like 90-mile weeks back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, I focus a lot on running economy. I just got really, really fit. So like I could run any pace. Like if you said run 10-minute mile pace, like I was running like the best looking 10-minute mile pace you could ever think of. Right. And so a lot of it is just being able to have that, like train your mind a lot. I do a lot of just running without even looking at my watch. I mean, honestly, most of my training is that. And then I kind of look at the result afterwards and say, huh, interesting. Like, and it just, you know, I guess saying going with the flow, it can, you know, I kind of think of it like how a Kenyan would train. They just go out there and run. Right. So like I do a lot of that and push myself enough without overdoing it. And that's, you know, in terms of my lifetime miles, I mean, I train 70, 80 miles a week, and I've been doing that for a long time, you know, whatever, 15 years. And it's allowed me to be, I think, at this point, durable, but also, you know, I haven't really had to deal with huge injuries or anything like that. I had some stupid things that's happened. So, yeah, I mean, after, you know, Gunstock, I had 107 miles of training. Factoring that race, I didn't taper or anything for it. I just kind of rolled it. So, and I'm back to running pretty normal. So, I feel like, you know, I can take in more volume. I probably will at some points just to see kind of how I respond, but I'm kind of happy doing what I've been doing.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're in a good place, and it's awesome to see you in the extremes to gut out the Cocodona and confront some of your own demons, as well as flip back to a really phenomenal time on a not even necessarily gently, but a rolling course. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great course. I think people should definitely look to do it. It's I think it lasts like, I mean, I think you could run, if the weather was better, I probably could have run an hour faster. And that's pushing it.
Did you say an hour faster?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I felt like running, you know, similar to the Tussey Mountain back time, running like a 6:20 was very feasible for that course. So it's one of those hills they're short and steep. So if you can just kind of like motor up them, you hit a flat plateau and then you have a nice downhill, so you can really make up time, and things can kind of average out. But it's a good one. It's one of those that, like the by 1,000 paper cuts kind of deal. So if you're not careful, you can, you know, bite yourself pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
right on. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't bite yourself really bad. And so nice work.
Thank you.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for logging on here for a bit tonight, and hopefully I'll talk to you more soon.
Sounds great, Ian.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in for this round of Trails Collective Live. Again, bearing with me for some of the technical issues at the front end there. Again, Whiteface Mountain Races is on deck on my plate here in, on Saturday. So follow along. We'll have hopefully another live Trails Collective episode with an elite mountain running panel. Hopefully the tech works here tomorrow evening at 5:30. And then we'll be trying to get you some live coverage of the U.S. Mountain Running Championship, which is Whiteface on Saturday. We're going to hopefully have a couple. We're going to have hopefully one person on the ATV at the lower part of the mountain. And we'll have 2 speedsters on foot in the upper part of the mountain and trying to bring you some updates there. So hopefully it all seems together and it'll be a fun thing to watch. If you're within drive range, for sure, come join us. It should be a fun weekend. There is the race. There's also kind of a gathering or a party at a park on Saturday night. And we'll have some group runs on Sunday. So really it was our intent to just create a fun weekend out of it. So even if it's last minute, feel free to come join us. Thanks to all those who are supporting the Trails Collective in liking the videos, sharing the videos, giving me feedback, giving me feed forward in terms of events, sharing your own voices, asking for your events to be shared. And thank you to all those who are taking the extra step just to chip in a couple bucks a month as a Patreon supporter. And just really more than anything, just shows us that y'all value what we're trying to do. So next week, again, we will bring you the Western States episode. Sorry, we had to push that back this week, but hopefully it's actually going to be deeper and even better next week. We'll bring you some voices from here, Western States. I'll try to find another couple events that we're running to give voice to, and then also maybe bring you a couple of the top voices from Mountain Marathon in Alaska, just because they were both people I was connecting with this past week or so. All right. So thanks for tuning in this episode or this round, and I will catch you sometimes next week. All right. Thanks so much, all. See ya.